So let's move on to next question. So next question is how to create an immutable class. So this is one of the very important question. This has been asked in many Java interviews, and immutable objects plays very important role in Java also. So let's try to understand how to create an immutable class, what are the variants, and how you can create with latest Java versions efficiently. So we'll move on to basically our editor to see the example. Cool. So to make any class immutable, right? First of all, you have to make classes final so that no one can extend that. So what is immutability? Basically, you have to understand. So immutable means once the class is created, it can't be modified. So if you modify, it will create a new instance. Take an example of string. So when you create a string, right, and if you want to change or concatenate or something, it will create new string altogether. So that's immutability. So how to create that? As we discussed, like we have to make class final, we have to declare the attributes as private and final, so nobody can change that. And we should initialize all these things in the constructor, and we should not provide any setters, only getters we have to provide. So this is the basic structure of an immutable class. But let's say we have to support, for example, a collection. Like for example, there is a list we have to support. Like for example, private, final, list of string here. And maybe we can say list string just for the lack of better naming. So how to basically initialize? Let's say if I go same way what I did earlier, like if I initialize this here, and if I declare my getter here, so it's like if I do this, so do you think is it immutable? Like I followed the same instructions, like I have initialized and the constructor and I have provided a getter. So we discussed a little earlier, immutability means once the object is created, it can't be changed. But with this, what will happen is we can change this object. So that is the problem. So why it can be changed? Because this list of string, right? This is not immutable. So this can be changed. You can ask me why. Let's take an example, okay? So let's try to create this immutable collection. Let's let's try to create an object of this class. Uh, let's say we can say immutable, and we can say new immutable. So we have to initialize here. Let's say ID is 1, name is maybe for example hello, and I need a list to pass, so I'll pass list here, list of string. um, so let's say just I'll create one array list, and I'll just add one element. Maybe I can call it as uh, first, okay, and I'll pass this list here, okay, and I'll just print this immutable. So I'll just try to run this. So you can see like hello world, it is printing. Uh, so let's add a toString method here. Um, so because in order to print some object, we need toString. So let's try to run this. Okay, let's try to run this and see. I'll just run this method. So basically it is printing ID equals to 1, name is hello, and list is first. So if I want to change this ID or name, there is no option. I have to create new of something. But can I change this list? Let's see how to do it. So first of all, we are passing list here itself, right? So what can we do is, let's say if I add list of dot, and let's say if I make it second here. Okay, so immutable object is already created. So I'm just trying to modify it. I'll just call this. So you can see first was it is containing id1 hello and first, and now I added second. So that is also created. So what does it mean? When an object is created, if you are able to change it, then it is not immutable. So here it is violating the immutable principle. So let's try to see how to fix it. So basically here, right, if you see, whatever the list of string we are getting, we are assigning as it is. So this can be list here, or this can be any of the class. Let's say I have an employee class here, some other class. Same problem. So I can't force employee class to make it immutable. What I can do is within my immutable class, I should make sure it should not be changed. So one of the way to fix this is, so we have to basically say make new array list of, we can pass this. Okay. Now we can see whether it works or not. Okay. So if you see now I got first and first, no change. Even though I tried to add, I did not change. Do you think is it sufficient? Do you think it is sufficient to make a class immutable? So I'll show you there is one more loophole with this code. What is that? So basically, so there is a get method. I hope you have seen the get method here. So get is basically returning this. So if I make, for example, um, or maybe I'll just take the reuse the same object. So I'll take this immutable. I'll do get operation, get of this list string, and I added it. And let me try to run it. Okay. So now it has changed. If you see, right now it is basically updating it. So just one thing is, I'll just add this print statement just for reference. So it's like before change and after change, you will see clearly. So in the first, it is returning first, and after that, it is returning first and second. So again, it is violating. What can be done? Easiest way is like here also, we have to basically do a deep copy. So deep copy means we are not returning the reference which is stored. We are creating another reference and we are sending. So even though you change that outside, it will not impact the object. So this is very much important. So you can see now there is no change. We are not able to change the list of string. So you understood. So what you have to do is first is you have to do a deep copy of it in the constructor, and you have to basically make that change in the getter also. That is also one of the very much important thing. So we'll think like, is there any way we can create easily without adding all these things, without taking all this hassle? Yes, in Java 14 onwards. So Java introduced a new concept called record. So let's see the record. Okay, so this is a Java record. So let's try to understand how to create an immutable class with Java records. So Java records is one of the concept which is introduced in Java 14 onwards. So by using which you can create an immutable object very easily. So we can avoid a lot of boilerplate code using records. Let's try to see. Here you can see I've created an immutable class. It's very simple. You just need to show the attributes here. That's it. So this is immutable now. So if I have to test it, right, I'll just create this object and I'll show you. So how this immutable works. At each one, maybe I'll call it as first, and I can just print this guy immutable record. That's it. So I'll try to just run this. it has created an immutable object. So if I have to change this, it will create a new object altogether. Let's take another variant as we discussed earlier. Let's say there is a list of strings or some other object which we have to use inside this. How to make that immutable? So it's very simple. So I'll call it as maybe string list, and here I have to basically update that in the constructor. I'll show you how to do that. So it's string list, and there is a method called list dot copy of string list. So this will create an immutable copy of string list. If you hover on this will basically create an immutable or unmodifiable list. Okay, so which is supported from Java 10 onwards. Let's say if I just take this design here and add it here, and I'll just pass the list here, and I'll try to add the modification part also. So it's basically this one. I'll try to add the modification part also, and I'll just paste it here at the bottom, and I'll just take this. Let me run it. So you can see it has not changed. Let's say if I do getter, so list and immutable record, do getter, and I'll change it. Still, it should not change. You can see an unmodifiable or unsupported operation exception. So at line 18, because we are trying to modify a collection which is created using unmodifiable list. So this will make sure that once the object is created, that will be immutable. So I hope you got it. This is one way you can create immutable objects using Java records. It will avoid a lot of boilerplate code. So if you use collection, you can go for this. Okay. And this list.copy of you can use here also, like same place, like instead of this, you can do list.copy of here also. That is another way you can do it. List.copy of. Um, and you don't, I mean, you can return this as it is. You don't need to create new of. And I can just show you. So you got the same exception. What it says is like it's not supported. So it is basically create an unmodifiable list and we are trying to modify. So main advantage with records, right? You don't need to have a lot of things like constructor, you don't need getters, you don't need. So even the toString method also you don't need. Equals hash code is also taken internally. And even you don't need to explicitly declare an attribute like this. It is part of basically a record declaration itself. So you don't need to make it as private, static, final, or you don't need to make it as final record. So everything is automatically taken care. So it's one of the best way to create an immutable object. So I hope you got it. So we understood the different ways to create the immutable class.